obviously, you got McSorley last year 3 times. How critical is it to get pressure on him and disrupt what he likes to do in the pass game?
Well, number one, pass game and run game. McSorley is really a triple threat out there, and that's a part of the game plan. That's the obvious that we need to stop them and have the opportunity to stop their run game with McSorley and also to stop their pass game with McSorley. And that's always the challenge, and we're looking forward to it. We really are.
How much do your guys help those guys in the back end to do that, to do their job?
Well, that's the continuation of what we need to do up front. Get after the quarterback even more to create opportunities to stop the quarterback from throwing the ball. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. And the more you do that, the better off you are on the back end. So that's always our challenge, and we want to continue to challenge our guys to do that, okay, to press the quarterback.
Are Mike and Raekwon playing right now as older players? I know they've played a lot since I got here, but right now are they playing as well as 2 guys you've had together at the same time since you've been here?
But experience is the true teacher, and yes, they are playing well. And they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and we're constantly trying to make them even better than what they are. And, you know, it goes weekly. Those guys are older guys now, so they're always looking, what can I do to make it even better? And what's been good about it, they've had those experiences, and now they're learning where they need to work on even more to get better. So each week we want to continue to get better, but know your weaknesses and work on that. But those guys have been a foundation in there for sure.
When you have those 2 type of guys at the same time, does that change anything from an overall defensive aspect that you guys are able to do that maybe just allow different things than maybe years past, like I said, with 2 guys at the same time at that level?
Well, in years past, I mean, again, we talk about the experience, them knowing what's going to happen pre-snap really helps us out. Them knowing what they're going to see up front helps, and also being able to suggest from the sideline what they see and what we should adjust to. So yes, in that forefront, that has been awesome, and that's what's allowed us to be better in the defensive tackle position. Them being able to come off and give suggestions, and also can maintain where they need to go and improve upon it.
With the inside out on the pass rush, I mean, it looks like Jacob is kind of coming into his own a little bit as a second guy. With having 2 ends, with him and Kenny getting some pressure, how does that help your guys in the middle? How does that translate? Does it start with your guys and work out, or does it start with them and work in?
Well, it always starts inside because the nose guard, number one, he's always initially double teamed. The 3 technique, he has the ability to be able to change inside. Also, you create the one-on-ones with those defensive ends, and you allow them to be a little bit more creative, and with those one-on-ones, create better pass rush and more pressure on the quarterback. So yeah, that's been a plus, but we always want to be able to give them opportunities in a one-on-one situation to make plays, and those guys are doing that.
I know when he got here, there was talk that Jacob could move inside next to Mike. Do you see him right now as being an edge guy, or will he eventually?
Well, right now, we want our kids to be able to play all positions as they come in here in number one, but right now he's at defensive end. He's doing a great job of it, and he's got to continue to develop and play with power, number one. But he can play anywhere down the defensive line, in my opinion.
Speaking of those defensive ends, you've been great as a team against the run all year. Against Northwestern, they tried to run to the edge a lot, and defensive ends were doing a good job, in my opinion. You may disagree, but getting upfield and setting that edge, defensive tackles getting a lot of credit right now. But how good were the defensive ends against the run on those outside plays, especially Dylan Alexander helping in that area also? Would you agree defensive ends against the run, getting upfield and setting an edge on some of those?
I think, number one, the whole defensive line's getting credit when it comes to the run game and what's going on right now. Their job as edge guys is to set the edge, and our job is to set the middle. And so those are all the pieces from the outside, forcing the ball from the inside, being able to make a few plays, but also not allowing them to run downhill at us and being able to force the ball outside. So I think they all have a piece of that as you look at that puzzle. And I think it goes to the front as a group that is allowing us to be able to make plays as a defensive line, because it's all a part of that puzzle.
You mentioned the rotation, getting the the 4 guys you're primarily using in the middle. Is it hard to get Raekwon and Mike to the sideline and convince them they need to rest and take a couple snaps off and get Naquan and Gerald in there? It
really is, and you can see that sometimes in the numbers as far as the number of snaps are concerned. But we have a rotation, and the guys are comfortable in that, and everybody wants to be out there in a prime time situation. But each time you're on the field, it's prime time, especially here in the Big Ten. But being able to rotate those guys in has been, something special for us, and we want to continue to do that.
You mentioned the experience of Raekwon and Mike, but what specifically have they gotten better with over time, would you say, is some of the strides they've made?
Well, number one, strength. okay? The ability to use your hands consistently, and also to be able to play with power inside as a run player, but also as a pass player. Everybody wants to develop the finesse game, but the game is truly with the power inside. And I think that's what's been more consistent with those two guys, is the use of their hands and playing with power regardless of run or pass.
Jacob Slade, we saw, I think, Utah State, only D lineman we've seen as a freshman in the game. What is it that got him on the field, and do you see him being able to contribute more? I know those top four are really good, obviously.
Well, the situation and the number of reps on the field. I mean, I think that game was 80, 90 play reps, so
Yeah.
that's the key to that happening at that short time frame. So,
Gotcha.
Mike and Raekwon seem to have, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but they seem to like have a really good bond. Have you noticed that personally that has carried over to their play on the field, because they seem to enjoy each other's company?
I would totally agree. When they walk in, they're together. When they sit down at the table in the meeting room, they're together. When they're out after practice, they're together. We call them our salt and pepper. We really enjoy it, that's for sure.
They're like a buddy cop film.
No doubt. We enjoy that.
Wanted to, with Sanders coming in and taking over for Barkley at the running back job, have they pretty much stayed the same and he's just picked up where Barkley left off, or is he a little different?
I think, in my opinion, they have not dropped off. And the numbers tell you that, being on 260 yards rushing, number one, and at the top 12 in the country. I don't think that has changed. His running style is a little bit different, but as far as the production, has been the same.
What about other guys, depth-wise, for you guys, like Moofy? Is he? I know he was. Coach said late August, or I think it was when he would end up being back. Is he kind of working his way back?
Oh no, he's back on the field. I mean, he's back traveling. He's back getting it in and getting stronger. And
any other guys? It's hard to say crack it because there's not many snaps for them with those guys up there. But
there's your answer.
Who's
right
pushing?
There. There's your answer.
Who's
right
pushing
there.
them? I guess.
All of those guys are pushing right now because we have the ability to watch them on the scout field, and they're pushing on that field, and then they're coming up and having limited snaps. So they'll be in it ready when it's time, but right now those front four are the guys that we're utilizing right now.
Anything else, Coach?
I'm good.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.
Appreciate you.